Court is now in session. In the case of Jesus Christ versus the people, I call the defendant to the stand. Ooh, you are not Jesus.
I am not Jesus, but I represent Jesus, and on behalf of my client, I am in court today with you.
And how does your client plead?
Not guilty. Guilty.
You're gonna have to pick.
I'm actually not quite sure if it's guilty or not guilty, because I look at one thing and it says not guilty, but then he tells me he's guilty, and I'm really confused right now. So right now at this time, I'm not going to enter a plea.
Okay. And what is the evidence?
Well, Your Honor, you had all of these things of evidence dropped off in my office. And first of all, this is just one of like a billion books. So I took some time to examine them. And I mean, everything I looked at shows there's no guilt on Jesus's behalf. I mean, these are the sins of like everybody else. I mean, there is just a ton of evidence that shows that people are guilty and Jesus is not. So after looking through all of this and talking to my client to be like, look, you're innocent. You don't have to do any of this. Jesus did tell me in Matthew chapter 20, verse 28, just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many, I guess I come to you with a guilty plea. I just don't know, Your Honor. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it in your hands. I've placed everything I need to before you. Just oof.
There is a lot of evidence on this, and you are right. It declares Jesus very much not guilty. He lived a very perfect life. So after weighing the evidence that you presented, I declare your client guilty.
Are you sure about that? Because he's very innocent. We are very guilty.
Nope, I am sure. In fact, it is finished. Ooh, this one is a really hard one. This one is hard. This book that you have is huge.
It is. And the print is so very small. We know that all of our sins could fill this
Yeah, more.
and more. And yet we see that Jesus was willing to die for all of it, to take it to the cross, to suffer for us.
Mm-hmm. So today we're actually going to do something a little bit different. We've already looked at a lot of our different sins, and we know that there's even more. Mm-hmm. There isn't any cross that's large enough for us to even write down the amount of sins we have. Just like you said, this book, we could have multiple copies for each of us that contain all of our sins. Today, instead, what we want you to do is we want you to grab a black marker or some black paint, something that you have. And today's a dark day, so we want you to just cover it. Paint it, color it, whatever you need to do. Make this entire yellow side completely black. And I know it's going to seem dark. It looks dark, even just the color black being so very dark. But we do have good news. Sunday is coming. It'll be here soon.
And we see that Jesus, in covering this, dies for all of these sins, and he defeats death and the devil and covers all of those sins. And just like Jamie said, this is a very dark time for us to think about, but the best is yet to come. Sunday is coming, my friends.